Hello, everybody, and good morning. Welcome back to the stream. We're going to do some more, I don't know, just random stuff, getting the demo ready. I'm actually working on, so yesterday, remember, I was trying to get a display working for showing the corruption chance of alchemy. I didn't actually end up making that much progress on that yesterday. There was a bunch of other things I had to do, but that's life. But anyway, so we're continuing on that. I have drawn up a little bit of a different display for this. So we've got like 5 little corrupted orbs, and the idea is that these 5, well, so one will show, basically what I'm trying to say is you divide the max corruption chance by 5, so you've got 5 increments, right? And then each time that increment goes down as you fill the ability pool, these things will disappear until there are none, right? So this would represent full corruption chance, and then once it disappears, you will know that it'll either be 0% or maybe it'll be below like the threshold for that increment or something. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But that's what I'm going to try implementing today. And by try, I mean we are going to do it because it's not anything difficult. But anyway, before I get into it, the Alchemortis playtest is still running. It will be running for another a week or a little bit less than a week maybe. But you still have plenty of time. You got all of this week to try it out. So yeah, try out the playtest. Let me know what you think. Join the Discord, leave your feedback. That would be appreciated. You can also join on Patreon. If you subscribe at the sponsor tier here, you will get a Steam key for the full game when it launches and your name in the Alchemortis credits. I am going to be implementing that credits screen when the demo build goes public, so that the public build, all of your names will be in the public build who have supported at this tier, but I will leave open the sponsor tier all the way up until release. So you'll be able to join as a sponsor until the game releases, and then these perks are going to go away because the game will be finished and that opportunity will be gone. So if you want your name in the credits and you also want to do like a pre-purchase of the game, you can do that. I also have the Udemy courses. These are available for you to learn Godot from your favorite niche e-celeb. So that's a great way to support me as well. Also a great way to learn how to build games in Godot. Alrighty. Hello, Fireblast. Welcome back. Good to see you. Clickertail, hello. Chris, good morning. Hello, Tony. Welcome. Ninja Link, good to see you. Welcome. Snailcat, Google Snailcat. Hello, Necromantic. Welcome. Wooius, welcome back. It's whatever Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? It's not Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Oh, it is Wednesday. Oh, goodness. Where's my life going? Hello, Johan. Razormet, welcome. Thank you. Mohal, welcome back. Hello, V. Welcome. Good to see you. So, yeah. So I've drawn this up. Basically now, I need to get this exported. And I also need to redo a bunch of stuff that I did with the pool buttons. So we're going to export those 2 things. So file, scripts, export layers. I was playing around with like little orbiting ghost things, but that wasn't working very well. I didn't think it matched the style, and it also felt a little bit busy, but I could show you what that looks like. So yeah, I had like these little orbiting things. It just, yeah, it doesn't work out that well. So we are not going to do that. Also, I need to undo basically all of this. So get rid of that. We're going to do button center root, change this type. Let me focus on undoing a lot of the changes that I made. So we got the button center root, we've got the button center. That's got the highlight still, okay. So I need to look at my file history. Work on pool corruption presentation. Yeah, so basically I need to put fade out button center. Okay, let's put this over, well, Alchemy pool button, this becomes button center. Okay, and then, Is that it? I thought there was something else that I needed to do. Maybe not. Oh, is that it? I think that's it. We, of course, have to undo the corruption ghost stuff as well. Alchemy pull corrupted ghost. Yeah, I might as well just... We'll remove that later. For now, I'm actually going to remove... Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. Corrupted ghosts, remove this. Get rid of corruption tween. Yeah, we don't need that. Okay. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. We are going to want to keep that, so I'll just keep the method there, but... Okay, so we've got rid of all that. We'll do a quick test to make sure that all works, and then I'll commit that. Glad to see I'm not the only one lost in time. So I made a prototype of my game, but I'm using the default Godot logo for all my assets and sprites. I want to add my own art, but I realized I'm terrible at coming up with art designs and theme. Yeah, I mean, art is hard. It's really difficult. Especially if you're not like an art-oriented person, a person with an art proclivity. It's a struggle for sure. I am on Windows, yes. Welcome, D-Rex. Hello, Emerson, welcome back. Okay. So we're back to normal now. I will go ahead and commit this. So work on new presentation. So we'll commit that. And now I just want to get this cleaned up. So alchemy, well, let's do this first. Corrupted ghost, removed that. Pull corrupted ghost, remove these. Okay. We'll run it, make sure it's good. Okay. Back to square one. Alrighty then, so we've got the button border, so we're gonna want a sprite 2D. This would be corruption container, I suppose. Let's see, what did I call that? Corrupted background. So we'll throw that on there, turn off the offset, and I'll just, how do I want to do this? Maybe I'll put this in the center as well. Oh, you know what I realized? This probably actually needs to go... Wait a minute, how does this work? Oh, okay. I think that's right. I've got this pixel 1 down and 2 over. Right? No, it needs to go down 1. What? I guess it's supposed to be like that, but why am I missing a pixel here? Oops. Let's see. No, it's like this. No, it's like that. Okay, I'll get it eventually. There we go. Okay, I think I got it. Right, because this red here is in line with this red pixel. So yeah, okay, we're good. We matched the mock-up now. All right, so we've got the corruption container, which actually is no longer centered. So I was doing the wrong thing. Now we're good. All right, so now we need sprite 2Ds for all of these corruption icons. Ability corrupted icon, sprite 2D. Oh, the problem is this is gonna need to go on top. Okay. I think that's all right. I just need to put it on top of everything, or at least on top of the button border. So yeah, let's just do, we'll just call it corruption indicators or something. Here we go. Sprite 2D. Yeah, that works. I might as well turn the offset off and just position them correctly. Maybe not actually. Maybe I want to keep them centered just in case I want to animate them. Okay, let's just, I'll just position it myself. That's fine. These all just fit very nicely in there. No positioning necessary. So I'll probably just like animate those in based on what the corruption chance is currently. So probably what I'll end up doing is I'll store all of these in an array, and then I'll have to create like a tween that synchronizes all of them whenever the corruption chance changes. So yeah, I think that's probably okay. We'll just use like the fade in, fade out for them. I think that'll work. First of all, let's see how it looks in game before I do anything else. Okay, yeah, I think it looks fine. And so these will go down. Oh, but they're on top of the outline. Oh, that's kind of... what do I want to do about that? Do I just make it one texture and outline the whole thing? I'll figure that out later. Whatever. It's okay. It's okay for now. That's not the main important thing. Okay. Corruption indicators. All right. So... Oh, let's call this corruption indicators root. Private void setup corruption indicators. I'm always doing that. There we go. For each var, child in corruption indicators root, get children of type sprite 2D. Actually, what am I doing here? Let's do this. Indicator.visible is equal to false. Okay. All right. So I think that makes sense. I think I can I just use the remapped chance? Let me think about this. I think so. So I'll probably just create a method called like adjust corruption indicators. And then we'll do something like float remapped chance. So var, we'll just call this interval is equal to 1f divided by corruption indicators dot length. Do I need to know which indicators are visible? Let's just set up a very basic tween to start. ToShow is equal to mathf do I want to do a seal to int? Remapped chance divided by interval. For var I equals 0, I is less than... do I want to do the whole thing? Corruption indicators dot length. Yeah, I think... So the goal is to make this one method which will hide and show. So when I call adjust with the remap chance, it should just, as part of the method, know like which ones it needs to hide and which ones it needs to show. So I think I need to iterate over all of them, but then I'll check. If I is less than ToShow, is that right? Yeah. If I is less than ToShow, so we need to set up a tween, which I am going to need to actually store so I can kill it. Oh my gosh, I cannot type today. That's all right. Okay. So we'll do corruption tween dot corruption tween is equal to do I need to do all this? Do I need a tween for this? I wonder if I'm overcomplicating it. Maybe... Visual utilities dot fade in. Oh, I need to do... one of my biggest mistakes was not making this return a tween. Let's just do visual utilities dot fade in. Canvas item is corruption indicators I. Delay 0.15 seconds for each one after the first. Let me just see if that works. Oh, it's not going to work because I'm setting them to invisible at the start. So I'm going to need to clean all this up. This is not exactly how I want to set it up, but as per usual, we are just fumbling our way through it. Like the art style on Alchemortis, first time seeing anything but your code reviews. Nice work on the game. Get them wish lists. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. My first try at game got top 10% narrative in GMTK. Awesome. I'm happy, but I'm starting to realize what you said is true when it comes to narrative games versus systems-heavy roguelike games. Would take a lot of time and effort. Maybe somewhere in between is the sweet spot, since I also like systems. Yeah, I think, you know, there's always room to just add like little flavor text and little lore breadcrumbs. Like you could present the world and a light story without it being necessarily narrative heavy, right? Started with no tweeners. Right, I guess that makes sense. But anyway, let's open this up. Ooh, okay. That looks pretty cool. So the problem is it's redoing all of them. So I am gonna need to track that state somehow, which is where me not doing my visual utilities fade out as a tween is gonna really bite me, because they return like awaitable tasks in C#, but I may need to interrupt and stop that animation process, which is a little bit, actually maybe it's okay. I think my visual utilities will detect if it's the same material and will stop the tween. So I think I can just interrupt them if I need to. The problem is I don't want it to fade in. So the easy thing to do here would be to say keep progress. This technically runs the animation behind the scenes, but it keeps the progress value that's being animated, the shader, the progress uniform in the shader. So the shader is going to be still in effect. It's just going to have it's going to do nothing different because it has keep progress enabled. So when I do this, oh, it didn't work. Okay, I may just need to store. I may just need to store the active corruption indicators. How do I want to do that? I mean, I guess I could just use like a hash set or something. Sprite 2D. Active corruption indicators. So active corruption indicators. We can make this read only as well. Alrighty. If I is less than 2 show and not active corruption indicators dot contains, let's just store this in a variable. Indicator. Okay. Else, if I is greater than or equal to 2 show and active corruption indicators dot contains indicator. We're going to do basically the reverse here. Fade out. So the problem here is that this actually needs to be inverted. Is that right? So we've got 5 corruption indicators. So if we're on index 4, it's going to be adjusted index is going to be 0. If we're on index 3, the adjusted index is going to be 1. Yeah, so this would be, I think that's correct, adjusted index there. And then we want to do active corruption indicators, remove. You could definitely call Blueprints an in-between game in terms of narrative and systems. It has pretty well-defined structure at the base, but it has layers upon layers of puzzles that all drive a cohesive narrative. I have heard of Blueprints, but I have no idea like what that game actually plays like. Oh, that... Oh, okay. This index is not correct either. Activated indicator count. We're going to do activated indicator count. I wonder why that's not playing the fade in animation. Anyway, so that appears to be working. Add item aberration. Probably want to delay that too until the ghosties are done. Anyway, what happens if I do this now? Okay, so it looks decent for the most part. There's that initial fade in, which is not working. Probably because I still have keep progress here, so let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this as well. That may produce some animation like hitching or something, but I think it's probably all right. That animation probably could be a little bit faster. Let's do 0.4 instead of 0.6. Yeah, so that animation looks good. Let's also reduce the delay time a little bit. What else? There's something else. Oh, we want to make it do it on the end, right? So on corruption chance changed. Play ghosts. On ability pool filled, on ability pool emptied. So I think actually what I'll probably do is I probably want to store the remapped corruption chance like that. And instead of calling adjust corruption indicators here, we're just going to store the remapped corruption chance is equal to tuple remapped chance. Then we'll call adjust corruption indicators here. So adjust corruption indicators. And actually, now that we're storing that, this actually doesn't need to accept an argument. So this would just be remapped corruption chance there. So we'll just trigger the corruption indicator adjustment. So when abilities are added to the pool, though, we actually want to do this as part of the if index is equal to contributions.count minus 1, adjust corruption indicators. You explore a mansion trying to find room 45, but you only have a limited amount of steps, and when opening a door, you choose which room it leads to from a random selection of 3. Oh, interesting. Okay, something's wrong here. On abilities removed from pool. Oh, this might be happening before the corruption chance is being set. It can be ability pool. Let's take a look. No, the corruption chance should be changed before either of these happen. So why is that not working? Why is that not working? Oh, I need to call it here too. So wait a minute, on abilities. On abilities removed from pool. Oh. This is happening. Okay, so I probably actually do want to move this before these invocations. So set up the corruption chance first before any of the ability change happens. So that way this adjust corruption indicators works. Now I actually don't know. No, that should be fine. Wait a minute. Did I make a mistake down here? On abilities added. Yeah, I don't want to do that here actually. Okay, I think I'm good. I want this game to succeed. It's looking so juicy. Now you just got to make certain to tighten the tiny knits like balance. Yeah. I think I have an idea for what to do there with the balance. Obviously there's going to have to be individual item nerfs, but then also I think I can make the game difficulty scale a little bit more. I'm just trying to break this animation sequencing. Yeah, okay, that seems to work. So let's see. 10% chance, which makes sense. Should be 5% chance now, yeah. So as long as there's a greater than 0% chance, there's going to be at least one corruption indicator. And as soon as I erase that, it should go away. I think this is wrong, this logic here. I think I need a deactivated indicator count. This is wrong. That was just assuming, yeah, it needs to be deactivated indicator count. Okay. Balance is not a nit though. I mean, people are having fun with the current balance of the game. I think it's just, yeah, I think it's just one of those things where there's a little bit of tightening to do. Oh, dang, is that wrong now? It's going the wrong way. I needed to go from the other direction. Can I do it this way? First deactivated index. I think that's right. So I need the delay offset to be based on the first index that was deactivated. So if we deactivate index 3 first, then this delay will be based on index 3. It was previously based on the last index always, but of course, if you've only got 2 filled and you need to remove some, we want to remove it from the last filled one. Wait, is that right? Yeah. So if we've got index 0 is filled, oh, it'd be I, no, I've got this reversed. It needs to be I minus first deactivated index dot value. So if we need to deactivate index 0 and 1, so this would evaluate to 0, so it has no delay on the first element, right? And then we go to index 1, that would be 1 minus 0, so that'd be, yeah. I think that's right. Okay. I think that's right. Hello, any day now. Thank you. Add item, aberration. Nope, that's not right either. It needs to go from the back. Is there even a way to do this? Because I actually don't know. Yeah, I actually don't know which index. Oh, no. Previous. I'm just doing this all wrong. Previous activated count is equal to active corruption indicators dot count. Right. And then this would be previous, let's see, oh, I have a phone call about the broken down car. Let me take this really quick, BRB. Okay, I'm back. So the previous activated count, right. So previously, let's do farthest activated index is equal to what? Farthest activated index is count minus 1. Get rid of this. Is there a potential error here? What happens if the count is 0? If the count is 0, that means that this element will never be in the set, so it would never enter this block. So I think we're okay. Closer and closer to release, looking great and excited for launch. Thank you. So a nit is something you can fix or not. Well, here's the thing. I think the balance, the balance is something that I want to work on, but I also think the balance is in a spot where, it's definitely playable and people are having fun with it. And so, I don't want to make too many changes there. I think obviously I want to take a look at the items that are still a little bit too powerful and rein in that behavior. I obviously want to make items more powerful that are underutilized. And then as far as the difficulty of the enemies goes, I'm going to improve the bosses and make them feel more boss-like in terms of their abilities. And I also think there's a little I can just raise the scaling, especially in the mid and late game, just a little bit. And I think maybe the game will feel okay. I think I'm kind of in this spot where tiny little incremental tweaks to the balance and whatnot are going to get it into the shape that it needs to be. So, but what I'm trying to say is I feel like I could ship the game with the balance that it has now and a lot of people would still find the game very fun. So because I think, obviously the game needs to be challenging in order for it to be engaging, but what the sense that I'm getting is most people are having fun just like putting different builds together. Obviously, having a challenge to like test your build against is important, but I think the most fun thing people are having with the game is like just getting those upgrades and constructing the build. And the other thing too is like I want to add more difficulty modifiers as well, so that has to be something that I consider. Like I want to at least double the difficulty modifiers in the game. And so, I can't tweak the base difficulty of the game to the point where playing with all the difficulty modifiers is impossible, right? So there's just a couple of things to think about, that's all. All that is to say that I'm pretty confident I can get it in a really good spot before release. What happens if I do... Okay. Okay, that actually feels a little bit weird to me. So I'm going to adjust the timing on that. So instead of doing index is equal to contributions.count minus 1, else if, well, not else if index is equal to 0, we adjust the corruption indicators. Okay. Not exactly a blocker. Yeah, I would agree with that. Is the plan to release to have a gradual escalation of pieces during your first runs? I'm saying that because I tried the playtest yesterday and personally I found a bit off-putting getting a piece with huge amount of text right in the first few boosters in the first run. So the plan is to add a lot more items to item packs in the unlocks tree here in the item bundles. This unlocks tree is going to be expanded as well. For the release anyway. But I first need to have the content before I can like, do a lot with the unlock tree. But yeah, I think the plan is, keep some of the more complex items behind something you have to unlock. How do you calculate the combat difficulty? Is it Y position or edge distance from source? It is a scoring algorithm. So basically, what the game does is it looks at. So for each combat node that it's going to determine the difficulty for, what it does is it says, okay, what is the optimal path that the player could have taken to this node? And the optimal path is essentially just, I give a little heuristic score value to each different node type. So a grow board event has a very high value because it's very powerful, right? A booster event has a lower value because it's not very powerful. Artifacts have a kind of like a medium value because they're powerful. And so what it does is it scores up the optimal path. So of all the paths you could take to this combat, which one is the most optimal one? And then it adds up that score, and then it says, okay, like, again, it's just heuristics. These are just basically magic numbers. But then it says, okay, here's the score of all the nodes you could have visited optimally. So now I'm going to generate within the parameters of that score. So that score determines like how big the enemy board is. It determines what the level of the enemies are on that board, like the tier of the items on that board. And that's basically how it works. Strongholds also, I think strongholds have the highest score. And the reason strongholds have a huge score is because the boss fights are a big difficulty spike when you get to the boss. And maybe there's an argument to be made that that shouldn't happen, but the strongholds have a very high score so that all of the following combats after a stronghold are also increased in difficulty by that amount. So you don't notice, well, the goal is to make it not super noticeable that you get to a hard boss fight and then the combats become weaker again, right? And maybe there's some work I could do there as well. I think... yeah, maybe that's an area I should look at, because right now the bosses are kind of a big difficulty spike, and then I have to preserve that difficulty spike after the boss to the following combats. But I wonder if I smooth that out a little bit, if that would feel better. Anyway, I'll have to take a look at that. Meta progression and balance is the introduction of more complicated cards and stuff. Something that steals wholly from the enemy board would fit demon card perfectly. That's a good idea. What a big progress. Thank you. Also, something now I've found off-putting, but that's probably just a personal taste. Getting all the pieces back when alchemizing makes it a bit more cumbersome each time I alchemize, because I have to read all the pieces instead of just one. So, early versions of the game, it used to be you would alchemize all the things together, and then you would have to choose one item. So it would alchemize all the results, and then you would only choose one. I know that's not quite what you're saying, because you still have to read everything. But players didn't like that. So the problem with the alchemy system that has made it a little bit tricky to get right is it's supposed to be the core of the game. It's supposed to be like the core way by which you gain power. But early versions of the game had all these disincentives to use it. So, for example, the idea that you could only choose one card out of the alchemy when you did it meant that players were reluctant to throw their good items into the pot, because if, like, you know, they were only able to choose one thing, they might somewhat brick the good item, or they might lose some other cards that they were hoping to hold on to. So the problem is, like, it's just been an interesting design problem. Like, how do I get players to feel comfortable using alchemy? How can I make players feel like the alchemy is actually really useful and really powerful, and that I want players to feel like they're missing out if they're not using the alchemy system, that they're missing out on potentially huge power gains. But at the same time, the alchemy can't necessarily be guaranteed power increases, because then it's just like, what is it even there for, right? So that's like why I introduced reagents. That's why I introduced the corruption chance. Like, all of that stuff is trying to solve all those problems at once. But anyway, the point being, if I only spat out one item, we'd be back to that problem where players would be reluctant to engage in alchemy, because yeah, they would just be afraid of losing good items. In the very first playtest of the game, the way that the alchemy worked is that there were no ability slots or anything. So you could have an indefinite number of abilities on items, but you still could only choose one. So you threw all the items in the pot, it spit out a bunch of randomization, and then you would choose one. And there was no cap to the number of abilities you could have on a single item. But that is the same problem that you're mentioning, which is that it becomes too much to read, right? So the ability slots were kind of an attempt to not only rein in the power of individual items, but also just kind of put a top limit on how much you have to read in an item. I joined the playtest, didn't understand the game at first, then got into it and liked it. Then did get what strategy I needed to do, then figured one out, and I'm hooked. Good growth. Awesome. Thank you, TK. That's what I like to hear. I mean, I think there's a lot I could do for the confusion too. Like the next major effort I'm going to focus on is like redoing the tutorial. Again, that's going to be a pain in the rear. Redoing the tutorial again, but I think that's good. Like, that seems to be the pattern. Like, it's a little bit rough to understand at first, but once you understand what's going on, you get hooked. That seems to be a typical experience for a player. So the challenge for me then becomes, what do I do to get you to that hooked moment faster, right? And I think a lot of that is just improving the player early experience. Like a lot of you said, like reducing the complexity of the items that are presented to the player at first, doing a better job under explaining alchemy, which is why we're doing this, by the way. Like this whole ability pool system exists precisely to add a little bit more of a visual indicator and information about like what alchemy is actually doing. So even just being able to see like these little wispies going up here and then you hover this and it says, oh, ability pool, I think that clues players in a little bit easier into what alchemy is doing. And then of course you can open this and like, this is somewhat of a wall of text, but this is not going to be shown to you like forcibly, right? I'm not going to use this as a way to explain alchemy. This is just here for people that want to read more about it, but trying to get it to feel like it's understandable, or at least more understandable from the get-go. But yeah, there's some more tutorial work I need to do as well. Man, I have a lot of work to do. Oh, I got a lot of work to do, that's for sure. Anyway, let me check this. Like it comes down to the tutorial being emphasized enough on what the player should be looking for doing with the cards via alchemy and board management. It's a difficult thing to do. Yeah. I'm just trying to break those animations. I guess it's not possible to break those animations because the wispy animations are longer than the reveal animations of that corrupted. Anyway. I would maybe think about first gameplay after hitting start. Just drop the player into a map. The map. Then character select. Maybe. Anyway, I think this is working pretty well. So I've got some... I think I want to merge that texture. Yeah, I probably want to merge that texture so that way the highlight goes around the entire thing. And then I also want to put the corruption chance in this tooltip. Okay. All right. Well, it's looking better, I think. Actually, I think there's some changes to make here. I have this tween that I never used, so we can get rid of that. Okay. All right. Good. So we got some texture work to do, and then also, what was the other thing I wanted to do? Oh, put the corruption amount in the tooltip. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we will do those 2 things. So BRB in just 3 minutes. Okay, I am back. Side note, really liked your video of too many nodes and how you sped up your unlock screen. Thank you, TK. That video was really funny because I had a lot of people come in the comments and say, wow, that was really useful. I didn't know about the rendering server. I'm gonna have to take a look at looking at this. And then other people came in the comments to say, why the heck are you using the Godot engine? Write your own engine. What are you, like some kind of scrub? And then I had other people saying, actually, the improvement you made is still not good enough. It's pathetic. And I was like, you can't. It's just kind of a fun, you just get the whole spectrum of opinions. And of course, there were people that were saying too, like, why did you even have to do that? Why didn't you cache it? Like, obviously, you could just generate it once at startup and only show it once. Or only do the initial setup once and It's kind of funny the all the different variety of opinions you get on that kind of video. Do I want to just straight up merge these things? Just merge this down, I guess. Okay. I also like the video, but maybe I need to watch it again because I still can tell you how to use the rendering server instead of a bunch of nodes. I mean, it's basically straightforward. Like everything that a Node 2D gives you, you can do through the rendering server. That's basically it. Because the Node 2Ds, these are ultimately canvas items, right? And so what the rendering server does is you basically just create canvas items programmatically, and then you can assign scales and positions and rotations, transforms, you know, to the canvas item. But you can also like assign a material to the canvas item. You can also assign a texture to the canvas item. So you can do basically all the things that you can normally do with a Node 2D. As a matter of fact, something like a Sprite 2D node, what it does under the hood is it just uses the rendering server as well. So the node is not really responsible itself for much. It's basically just a configuration object that you use in the editor that ultimately just goes into the rendering server as a canvas item with a certain scale and texture and all that stuff, right? So the nodes are like the developer-friendly interface that you use to interact with the rendering server in a lot of cases. Obviously, there are nodes that have their own like specific functionality that would be very hard. Like, you'd basically have to re-implement the functionality if you were going to bypass them and use the rendering server. But for something like a Sprite 2D, it's very easy to bypass that and just use the rendering server for it. So yeah, that's basically it. Okay, now what is going on here? We don't need this corruption container anymore, so we get rid of that. Okay. I should probably restructure this. It's a little bit off center, but don't tell anyone. Okay. All right, now I gotta reposition this. It's either like that or it was 1 pixel up. Actually, let's move it down so it's in line with this. Yeah, we'll do that. All right, let's see what that does. Oh, this is going to the button border. Right, okay. Hopefully that means we're good now. Let's see. Hello, Snub Bill. Thank you for the IDR 10,000. Always appreciated. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Yo, I hear the corruption pool indicator is off-center, unplayable. I think that looks the same, right? But now it's highlighting the whole thing. So now let's make sure that's not too annoying with the controller because it's a larger area now. So I'll plug in my controller. So it becomes unclickable and there's nothing in the alchemy, so that helps for sure. I should still be able to go over... Yeah. Okay, that seems to work all right. It's a little bit annoying going from there to there, but I think if I do that, it should work. Yeah. Okay. All right. That sounds good to me. Merge, border, textures. So now we need to add the corruption chance to the tooltip. Let's do, so we've got this scroll container here. Let's do a divider there. Oh. I guess I'm going to need another margin container. Do I need another margin container? I think so. So this margin container here, is this margin container just not useful anymore? Why did I do that? Can I just do this? Take this margin container, put it there. I think that's fine. Because now I could put the corruption divider. Something like that. Translation groups.ui. UI ability pool. Theme overrides colors, font color, boom, boom. Build the game, then we build the translations. So obviously I'm going to need to change that, but that's okay. So we've got the corruption label. We'll call it corrupted label, I guess. All right, so what am I doing? Texture rect. Maybe I should call this corrupted divider as well, just to be consistent. Node private label. Corrupted label. Okay, corrupted divider dot visible. Corrupted label dot text is equal to description utils, format description, tr, UI ability pool corruption chance, object parameters args. This would be description utils dot float 2%. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's right. Float to percent. Current corruption chance. I think that's okay. I think that's all right. Let's see. Cool. Let's see if it scrolls correctly. Actually, did I ever implement the scrolling? Oh, I did. So is it possible even for the corruption chance to be present at the same time as the scroll? I mean, that's okay if not. I mean, it will be possible when there's the higher... Actually, I could turn that on right now. When there's the higher difficulty option that increases the corruption chance. So where is that? Difficulty tier 8. Hello, Footlong Icicle. Welcome. Yeah, okay, so we've got the corruption chance and the scroll looking, or visible at the same time. Okay. Let me make sure that works on controller as well. It does. Oh, it's not, this is not disappearing after I activate the abilities now. Okay, why is that happening? Alchemy pull button. On ability pool emptied. On ability pool emptied. Create on alchemy results, create result ghosts. Adjust corruption indicators here. I think so. You change the config of the game from the project settings? Yeah. Yeah, you can create your own project settings and then read them. I mean, I just have like a game debug class. These are the paths to all the custom project settings. And then I just have like, you know, is mute sound effects enabled? Obviously, always checking first that we're on a debug build because we don't want any of these debug settings to take effect in the actual release build of the game. So if is debug build is always like the first check with some exceptions, but yeah. Yep, you can basically just store whatever arbitrary data in the project settings you want and then read them as you need to. Why is that not going away? Why are those not disappearing? What? I don't know why it's not emptying. It must not be setting the corruption chance to 0 for some reason. Although it should be. Remapped corruption chances 0.86. Why is that not being updated? On corruption chance changed. Corruption chance. When alchemy results are created, it sets the ability pool. Oh. That is subscribing after the alchemy pool button, so that's the problem. Okay. So I think what I need to do is a little bit messy, but on alchemy results created, we're just going to set the remapped corruption chance to 0. That should be safe because it's always going to be updated like immediately after that, but I just need it to be 0 for that specific spot. Okay. Ooh. Okay. I think that's basically it. How's the progress going so far? Just tuned back in. Yeah, I think I'm basically done with this corruption indicator now. I just wanted to have, you know, some kind of visual way of seeing like what the likelihood of corruption is. So, you know, like once you understand what that means, when you're doing alchemy, it'll be easy to tell at a glance, like roughly what your chance of getting corruption is. So yeah. Do I have room to add one more line to this? That's a good question. Now I gotta rename these. Keyword corrupted corruption chance is based on the number of abilities in the ability pool. On string info alchemy dialogue 4. Okay. Is that even... Okay, whatever. Build. What a nice day to be developing Alchemortis. It is indeed. Before, you've mentioned wanting to expand the lore of the game. Are you planning to communicate the lore to the player? I do want to add lore to the game. I don't know. Admittedly, that's going to be at the lower end of the priority list, but my plan was to give players like little lore entries when they unlock something. So the unlock screen would be the place where the lores are like, or the lore is attached to. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't given that too much thought. Okay. All right then. Add extra line to alchemy information dialogue about corruption chance. Okay. All right, we'll see how this goes, but I think we can call that done. So I'm going to need to do a bunch of play testing on that because that is somewhat of a mechanic change. The corruption chance being based on the number of abilities in the pool rather than the number of items or the number of filled cells. So again, the reason I'm doing that is because I keep getting feedback and I agree that it's a problem that it's really easy to duplicate strong abilities. And so making the corruption chance based on the number of abilities in the pool does two things, right? It becomes a little bit riskier to try to duplicate a powerful ability in an item because you will there's a good likelihood that you will gain a corrupted ability. But then to reduce the corruption chance, you have to add more abilities to the pool, which increases the likelihood that you're not going to get the ability that you want to duplicate on the item that you want, right? But of course, there's ways to mitigate the effects of both things by using the reagents, right? And then the reagents are going to continue to be an area where I build that out, so I can give players the tools to manipulate alchemy in exactly the way that they want to. So basically, like, what I'm trying to do with this system is make it so that you can't get these big, powerful upgrades through alchemy reliably for free. Of course, you could take a chance and see if you hit the jackpot, see if you hit that, you know, it's like a little bit of a gambling mechanic, right? You can, of course, do it without reagents and see what happens. Or you could be a little bit more patient and like hunt for reagents that could make your life easier or get you the result that you want, right? So I think this is going to be a good change. I do have to play test it myself a bunch, but I'm going to make all these tweaks, like balance tweaks and everything to the build, and then before the demo is ready, I'm just going to do a bunch of internal play testing and make sure that it feels good. Ask my publisher to play test and all that stuff as well. And then of course, like, you know, the demo will be available for everyone to try. So that can function as like the next play test, right? Like you can play the demo when it's available on the Steam page, and you can give me your feedback on that. And then I can, of course, change anything up to release, but I have to be very careful with what I change now when it comes to the core mechanics. But that's done. All right. So let me merge that into the master branch. I think this is based on master. I hope it's based on master. This should be fine. I fixed another ability that was, or another issue that was caught by Sentry the other day. I love Sentry. I love having remote logging where I can just fix issues proactively instead of waiting for players to report them. Okay, master. Pull this down. Okay, so we've got all that. I'm just going to restart Godot because I don't trust switching branches with that open. Alrighty, what else can we do here? Translation, boring. If I go to difficulty modifiers, that's just a controller quality of life thing. Refunding unlocks. Character starting board effects. Give bosses random legendary ability. Localize unlock resource. Reddit screen. Collect more run statistics. There was an issue I think Ninja Link pointed out with run statistics. I don't know. I need to look into that. That might be a good thing to do, though. The other thing, too, is, yeah, I want to make sure that I'm tracking as many statistics as I want to track as possible prior to the full release of the game, because, you know, the unfortunate thing is, like, if I want to start tracking something after release, there's already going to be a bunch of players who have put hours into the game, and then those statistics won't be accurate because they'll only start tracking as of that patch, right? So I want to make sure that I'm collecting as much data as possible, statistics data. Even if I don't expose that information in a UI anywhere, the most important thing is that I am tracking the data, so that way I can expose that in the future. So collect more run statistics. I mean, I do want to look at, I'm going to delete this. Character win-loss data possibly not being saved correctly. Maybe we'll look at that. This one is also an issue. Love me some game statistics, yeah. All right, let's take a look at this bug first. I want to make sure that this data is being collected properly. So what the heck happened here? Clear my save data. Oh, that's Sentry. Debug. Turn off ignore save file. Let's enable quick victories. And we've got to ignore unlocks. So the issue here is that character wins may not be tracked properly. Yeah, there's no statistics here at all. Right. I have the demo flag on. So in the demo, I'm not collecting any statistics. And the reason is because the entire progression of the game is completing the challenges. And so I don't want players to be able to just grind their challenge progress on the demo. That's like the only form of permanent progression, right? So basically just all the permanent progression will be locked in the demo. Like it won't track anything. It's not going to do any of that stuff. You will have to buy the full game if you want to start tracking your challenge progress and all that stuff, which I think is fine because, like I said, it's the only permanent progression system. So if I gave you access to that progression in the demo, that's like the only thing then missing from the demo is just content, right? Which is, I don't think that's enough of a restriction for a demo, but you know, I'm open to changing that too if you guys don't like that. I played 3 games since that and all 3 saved correctly. I don't know what happened with the issues I did have. Interesting. I wonder, like, it could be... Total wins, total loss. Maybe it's with the difficulty modifiers enabled. Maybe it won't track the total wins or something. What happens if I click really fast through? Total wins 2. Okay, let's turn down the difficulty modifiers now. It could be a problem where maybe if you don't play on the highest difficulty that you've won before, it won't track the statistics. No, that is working. Turn it back down. Let's go to the Deathsworn Paladin now. Here, let's try this. Deathsworn Paladin max difficulties. Start. Even if I close it here, it should be saved. So even if I go back into the game now, let's see, quit to menu. No, it did track the win as well. Ninja Link, were you switching between your like a Steam Deck and your PC, because there's no cloud support for the playtest. So is it possible that you won a bunch on a different device and then won some on like the computer or something? I just want to see if that's a possibility. Maybe my initial issue with some patch coming through. Originally won my first 3 games with Necro, Priestess, and Courier, but 2 of those didn't. Okay, interesting. So maybe it might be related to, let's try this then. So I have all the unlocks enabled, so let's do this. Let's clear save data. I already knew that was sad to relock everything, yeah. Well, I'm completely and utterly blameless because it is a playtest, so that means that I can have as bad of an experience for players as possible, and you're not allowed to criticize me, so sorry. I don't make the rules. I have the shield of playtest immunity. Anyway, no, but cloud saves will obviously be implemented for the release as well. Hey, just saw you online. I wanted to say big thank you for your code review videos and sharing your expertise. Helped me loads. Awesome. Glad to hear that, Daisy Fox. Are you a Daisy fan as well? I played a lot of Daisy back in the college days. 2014, 2015. Lots of hours spent playing Daisy in the dorm. So I'm going to turn off ignore unlocks. Plot armor used. Sounds like the shield of playtest immunity needs to be nerfed. Okay, start. Total wins. Interesting. My era 2, many hours. Not got that sort of time these days, yeah. The Arma 2 Epoch mod. Yeah, there's something just, I don't know. I don't think I would enjoy DayZ anymore, but back in the day, it was pretty fun. You just run for hours, like you run for hours trying to meet up with your friend, and then you like get shot once and die, and then you have to do it all over again. I don't know how we stuck with it for so long, but for some reason it was just so fun. The adrenaline you get getting into a firefight in that game is like unparalleled, but the unfortunate thing is that getting to that point requires many hours of investment usually. So I'm not able to reproduce this at the moment. Let me try a loss. Game debug. Is quick victory enabled? Find all references. We're just gonna do is victory false. So we're gonna start tracking this as not a win and see what happens. Good morning, G. Whittington. Hello, Tony. Saw you're using Obsidian plugin Kanban board. What do you like and what don't you like compared to other Kanban boards? Well, I mean, the only reason really I'm using Obsidian for it is so that I can store the Kanban board locally. I will say that sometimes I feel a little bit limited by the Kanban in Obsidian because it would be nice to like, you know, create milestones or something and like group a bunch of tasks under a milestone. You know, get some of the other features that you would expect out of like other task management software, but the most important thing is like I don't want to have an online account that I have to log into and like, I don't know, it's just easier to store it on my drive, you know? So it is tracking the losses correctly as well. I'm trying to think, like, where would this break? I don't remember doing anything to fix or change any of this stuff. Let's see. Trying to figure out where is that. Record win or loss. Character ID, target dictionary is victory, runs won by difficulty, runs lost. If character ID is not equal to null. Oh, I realized that this is a problem though. Oh wait, is it? Where am I using this deep copy at? That's just for the challenge list, but this is a bug waiting to happen, so... Perfect runs. So I want to store perfect runs. Context that is victory and player deaths. Try get value, run statistics. Player deaths. Okay. Just found you yesterday on YouTube. Hello, Loki. Welcome. Great to have you here. You're welcome, Tony. So I'm not seeing an obvious issue with the statistics tracking. Like all the finalization of the statistics goes through essentially this merge run statistics here. Unless this merge with is wrong. Let me just make sure all of this is being deep copied. Okay, that is correct. I think everything's being tracked. I will have to keep an eye on it for sure. So we'll just put this in the backlog because I don't know if I need to figure out how to reproduce that, I think. We'll see if it comes up again, I guess. But yeah, definitely want to track more run statistics. Which card did the most damage? Anyway, I don't actually think I have time to get into this right now because I need to go pick up the car from the mechanic, but we're almost at 2 hours anyway. So I guess I will end the stream there. I'll work on some of this stuff later this afternoon, but yeah, if you want to try the Alchemortis playtest, it is still running. You could go to the Steam page, click request access. That is linked below. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think in the Discord. I would appreciate that. And yeah, I don't think I'll have time for another stream today. Not that I've been doing them recently, but yeah, I'll be back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, so hope to see you there. But if I do happen to go live at some point today, I'll put that notification in the Discord, so join there to be notified when I go live. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you for your support. It's very much appreciated. And yeah, bye-bye for now.